What is happening, AJ Game Dude here? And just as we reach closer into the digital only future, so do we look at the past and realize that things are probably not going as well as we kind of would have liked. So this is really sort of talking about The Crew, a game that released in 2014 at the launch of the PS4 and Xbox One. Now, this game is a mostly single-player racing game where you race from one location to another, and it has a lot of social elements thrown in, though that doesn't largely affect most of the gameplay. Why am I being a little bit pedantic about some of the stuff I'm describing? Well, that's because The Crew is an online-only game, and its server shut down on the 31st of March, 2024. So that is about a week as of me record. So this is like a week later that I'm recording this video that the shutdown has actually already happened. In saying that, what really kind of frustrates me about this is that there was no reason to make this game online only, because those social elements that I was talking about was seeing other players kind of drive their cars. So the idea of The Crew is that you've got an entire continental US where you can drive from a city in the US to another city in the US, and you can just kind of keep going that way. There are races littered across the world, and you can kind of just partake in them. And there's also a fairly decent story, or a pretty heavy amount of story in The Crew. And I feel like they kind of took stuff from Driver San Francisco and other driver games in the past, and kind of got a lot of inspiration from those in order to create The Crew. Seeing other players' times in races and things like that, is that really necessary? Probably not. Does that add replayability? Depending on who you ask, I suppose. But those were kind of at the extent of the online really like mechanics, except for like maybe being able to race other players. Other than that, I doubt there was actually much more to the online capabilities. So with this game being taken offline, it is now completely unplayable. Even if you have a disc, you could pop in the disc onto your PS4, boot it up, and then realize that the game is no longer connecting. Now, at some point, modders found that after the announcement, which is from this article that was published last year, but this is when the actual shutdown was announced. So when they announced the shutdown, modders actually went in to look at the game files of The Crew on PC and realized, hey, there's a offline mode of The Crew in the PC stuff, but it was all completely disabled. And so there was actually a point in which Ubisoft could have made The Crew offline, at least in a playable state, then completely shutting the game down and making it completely unplayable and untouchable moving forward from that point. So that's an incredibly disappointing thing, that like this could have not this video that I'm making right now might not have been a video that I would have been making right now, because the game would still be playable. This largely revolves around the fact that the game is completely unplayable, that even if you have a disc, you still can't play it because you have to connect. So piracy kind of has nothing to do with this. Ultimately, it's server closures that this kind of more so relates to. In saying that, though, I found something really, really funny. So this is an article about The Crew shutting down. It was like published 15 December 2023, right? Like you can see all the details. Ed Nightingale, good job talking about this. Now, I just Googled on The Crew, The Crew shuts down, right? And I go to the top, and it's like, okay, there's this Ubisoft article called Decommissioning of Online Services for The Crew, Ubisoft Help. And I'm like, sweet. So then I click into this. I was going to use this article originally, and then if we just give it a sec, it doesn't even find the article that like is supposed to be here. What the heck is going on, Ubisoft? Forget keeping a game up if you can't keep an article up for more than, when was this published? It doesn't even say the date. Normally it's like a, yeah, I don't see anything. Like how it says here, 23rd Jan 2024. There's nothing here. What the heck? Well, anyway, they kept The Crew up for about 10 years. They couldn't keep this message on Ubisoft's website up. Oh, though it's a Canadian website, though, so maybe that might be the thing. Because this is ENCA, so that might be it. But this news has blown up significantly more, given that a YouTuber can't, yeah, a YouTuber who's currently running a Stop Killing Games campaign. So with the crew shutting down, because they're in France, and France has some of the strictest regulations when it comes to consumer protections, he created a site called stopkillinggames.com, which I'll put into the description below so you can check it out. But it's pretty much an action for people who own the crew, but also petitioning potential governments to allow games to at least be left in a, albeit a functional state, when they completely, shut down the game. So, like, if they shut down the service, at least the game will still be playable offline, or give people the ability to be able to play the game at least. And while I have a quick look, the video was by Accursed Farms. So what I'm going to do is probably link his video into the description below as well. So check that out. So Accursed Farms, the video's got about nearly 200k views, and I very much share his sentiment regarding the shutting down of online servers and leaving games in an unplayable state. I feel like games should be playable at least. Say for example, what they did with what's it called? Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers is no longer an online only game. After they ended support, they actually made the game completely playable offline. That is incredible. That's great. Not only did they stop supporting, when they stopped supporting the game, they gave you the ability to get all of the previous season's content for free. So you don't have to pay any real world money, you don't have to pay any microtransactions, everything is just there. The game no longer requires an online connection to be played. Thank goodness, because when they stop working on the game completely, when they're like, okay, Marvel Avengers is now completely behind us for Crystal Dynamics, we can still play the game as if we have the disc, if we can download the game. Granted, the game has been completely delisted now, but the fact that it's still playable is great. It's excellent. And I wish more people and more games would do stuff like this. It's just unfortunate that we are in a spot where that sort of thing isn't happening. And albeit in a slightly different manner, when GTA 5 shut down not the director, they shut down a mode for GTA Online on the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game, where you can't, I don't know if it's Xbox One, but PS4 for sure, which was the Rockstar editor. So they shut that down, but then they changed the trophies on the trophy list. So rather than making those trophies unobtainable, they changed it to something slightly different. So either you do the stuff for within the Rockstar editor, whatever the original requirement was, or do this other thing, which will also earn you the trophy. So it's retroactively shutting things down, but changing things to make it beneficial that it's still, either those trophies that remain obtainable or the game remains playable. It's just good to know. Anyway, as far as the Stop Killing Games site, I've done my bit, so I'll put the links below for you guys to kind of do the same. But ultimately, going back to Ubisoft and the shutting down of games, yeah, I think I might just be preaching to the choir at this point, because there's a good amount of people who just do not care. They think that an old game is old, but sometimes you just want to go back and play something that you feel, is a bit of comfort food. Just like how people go and watch old movies, or people like to go back and watch old TV shows. Hell, I went back to watch Fillmore, an old animated Disney TV show. That has been gone since 2004. So it's been 20 years since that that show has last aired its final episode. And it's such a good show. It's so much better than most kid shows nowadays. It really does kind of hurt to see, the difference between that and the, Fillmore and current shows for kids nowadays. Or if I go back and watch older episodes of SpongeBob, or just anything else, it just allows me to appreciate the old more so than for what it was back in the day, and kind of also makes me look negatively towards the new, but I digress. Though, with all that said, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Let me know if you guys are going to be doing your bit in regards to the Stop Killing Games website, because you can actually, sign the government petition and do stuff like that. I highly recommend doing that if you can. So let me know if you've done your part regarding that as well. And just about the subject in general, I know a lot of people are not going to care, but I'm certainly one of those that do care. Maybe we're fighting a losing battle, but we won't know until we try. So ultimately, I suppose that's what it comes down to for me. With all that said and done, though, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subs by the end of the year. And with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.